Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we're taking a look at 7 Days to Die version 2.0. So version 2.0 has just come out, entitled Storms Brewing, and for the most part that's fairly an accurate description to what's going on. So the biggest change in it is they've changed the way the biomes work. So you won't notice it in the pine forest, but once you get to the burnt forest you'll see a timer come up and you'll start choking on smoke. This is because they've added these hazards to the biomes and you need to work your way around them by completing objectives. So you get like 2.5 minutes in the biome before you start losing health. You can out-heal the health loss, that's not a problem, but obviously that eats into your resources, which is not such a great idea in a survival game. So the way you do it is you get a series of challenges, much like the challenges that were introduced a few updates back. And you go through, succeed at them all, and then visit a trader to get a badge. The badge isn't a physical thing, it's just like it's just a perk you get, which means you no longer are vulnerable to that particular biome's nastiness, whether it's smoke in the burnt forest, or heat in the desert, or cold in the winter biome, or indeed radiation in the wasteland biome. You can be immune to it once you've completed the thing. And it's stuff like opening containers, spending a certain amount of time in that biome, getting mushrooms for the burnt forest, say, things like that. You can also create a smoothie for each one, which will extend the time that you can stay in there by 5 minutes. They're not terribly difficult to craft, but it's kind of not worth it when you can just like stay on the edge of the biome and just run back out when you need to like recover and then go back in again and carry on with what you were doing. I'm kind of mixed opinions about this. I can see what they're trying to do, but it really does sort of take away some of the sort of agency that you had in the game. I mean, if before you could be like in your bare ass with a stone sledgehammer and be like, you know what, I'm gonna try to Shong Tower in the wasteland, baby, yeah. Well, not the wasteland, because that still had radiation, but okay. Yes, I think it did. I could be getting confused with Darkness Falls. That happens a lot because I played so much of both, they kind of really meld together for me. But you know what I mean, you could like take on challenges that you weren't really ready for, but you could still try and get through on skill, which is laudable. But now it just seems like, oh well, you know, you've really got to be like this level to get into here, you got to do this shit to get into there. It's kind of like just slowing your progression down. Another way they're also doing that is they've introduced loot caps per biome. So obviously the pine forest is the lowest one, and as you get, and it will escalate up in order of difficulty of the biomes. So I think it's burnt forest, desert, winter, and snowy in it, so not winter, and wasteland. As you'll get the badges, it will gradually increase the loot cap on each of the biomes, so they go up a bit, but you're still going to be like hard capped. I mean, the top loot is 250, and I think the wasteland goes up to like around that, if not that. So you can turn that off. There is an option in the settings to turn off the biome progression if you don't want it, though. So, you know, whether you like it or you don't like it, at least you have the option to have it or not, which is good. The other thing, major thing they've introduced is storms. Now you'll get storms come along. It won't affect you in the pine forest. They're not damaging, they're just there. So what they've done is they've taken out, like, outside the biome sort of thing they've introduced, you no longer get cold or hot from going into the desert or the forest, the snow climate. You just get the biome effects, and then if a storm comes along, then it's bad news. You get like a warning of about a minute, and then bam, in comes a storm, and you start losing health. So what you've got to do is you've either got to get a shelter or you've got to create shelter. And yes, that can just be like a 1x1 walled cube that you stand in until the storm's over. That works. So, you know, it is avoidable. You can vary the amount that you'll get. There's a slider that will allow you to change it, and you can disable it as well if you'd like. In addition to all those things, they've introduced new models and animations for a lot of the stuff in the game, particularly consumables. So for now, you get a vitamin jar. You'll take out the jar, twist the top off, put the vitamins in your hand, throw the tub away, swallow the vitamins. For tins of food, you'll have a ring pull on it. You'll pull the ring pull, exposing the food, and slurp it back. And they don't look appetizing, if I'm fair, but it's better than starving, I suppose. Things like that. They have also introduced new enemies into the game. So the two unique ones are the Plague Spitter, which is in the desert and spits clouds of flies at you. The flies themselves do eventually despawn by themselves. They do like 3 damage to you. They're really weak. They got like 6 health, but they do have like 99% immunity to firearms and ranged weapons. So you have to take them out in melee. As I said, it's not a huge deal, but they will slow you down, and they have a really good chance of inflicting stuff like the infection, fatigue, stuff like that. The Plague Spitter itself is around about sort of coppish levels in strength outside of his plague spitting ability. You also have in the snow biome, I think it's got Deathclaw. It can't be a Deathclaw. It's got to be like a Winterclaw. I've forgotten the bloody name of it, but basically it's a Yeti that hurls boulders at you. The boulders themselves do quite a lot of damage, more than their melee attack, and it has splash damage on it, so yeah, don't just sidestep it, move your ass. In addition to that, the Yeti, it's because I can't remember the name because I'm old and stupid. He's about coppish levels as well. They've also introduced 2 new sort of zombie variants, which is the blue one and I think he's called the charged one, and the orange one. These are both stronger than radiated zombies. The blue one's fast, the orange one's slow. The orange one does a lot of damage. They both have more health than their predecessors. It's just basically blue and orange are your next 2 sort of levels up. The blue one doesn't seem to be for all zombie modes, it's more like the quick ones. So the woman with the ponytail, things like that. Tom, I think, is the other one, isn't it? The one that runs like he's got some sort of spinal condition. That guy. So there is new sort of challenges to overcome. They've also introduced a lot of POIs, and a lot more are in the sort of away from towns and settlements. So they're far more wilderness POIs to investigate. I think there's about 250 in total now, which is nice. But outside of that, there's not a huge amount of changes. The zombies can crawl now, so if you've got a gap, they say it's a meter high, but it looks, from my experience, it seems like it's more like a half meter high, that they can, anything lower than that they can get through. So might actually, it's a new mechanic. It stops them getting stuck, but it also creates some interesting sort of ways to sort of funnel them in your horde base, because obviously if they're crawling through something, they're going to be slower. So you can maybe have them crawl towards your fighting position, give you more time to pop them. That might be an idea. But outside of that, pretty much everything else is very similar. They've adjusted the perks a little bit. There is now dedicated books for sledgehammers. I'm not a huge sledgehammer fan myself, but not because I don't like it, but because there's other ones I prefer, if that makes sense. I don't know. I always seem to end up in strength anyway, just because I want to mine, so and the top one of that is, if you kill something with a power attack, it completely refills your stamina, which makes you a sledgehammering machine, which is lovely. You like that. They've also moved, there's new mastery perks, and they've moved some of the perks under a general tab. So stuff like Iron Chef, or whatever it's called. The one where it costs less ingredients and takes less time to prepare meals, which is one I always go for. They're under general, and they generally increase in points with levels. So level 1 would be 1 point, level 2 would be 2 points, level 3 would be 3 points, so on. But that's about it for the 2.0 update. They haven't introduced like raiders or anything like that, which I'm happy about, because I will probably turn them off. Because I've been playing a little bit of DayZ recently, and getting shot at while not knowing where they are while you're trying to deal with zombies is, well, it's not my version of fun, really. Especially when you lose all the loot you just spent 3 hours acquiring. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. I knew what I was getting into. That's why I set up a single player server and fuck them all. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to change your mind on 7 Days to Die. If you didn't like it before, you probably won't like it now. If you did like it before, there's a few more things in it. Some, you know, some you could argue are good, some you could argue are bad. But you do seem, for the most part, to have the options of deciding which one of the, you know, whether you actually have to experience that or not. So if you don't like the sound of the biome, then you turn up. If you don't like the sound of the storms, like delaying you and shit like that, which is basically what they do, you can turn them off or down. It's up to you, which is nice. There is, however, with the entry of 2.0, something rather more concerning. And that is paid skins. They've released 3 skins for just over £5 each. They're purely cosmetic. They don't affect anything else in game. You can just turn them on so you look like whatever the skin was you bought. For £5 per skin. That seems a bit steep to me. Now, I don't know what FunPimp's revenue is, right? I mean, I don't know how much more they pulled in on Release 1.0 or 2.0 or whatever. Obviously, there's a lot of us that have had it for quite a long time, so they're not gaining money from a lot of their audience themselves. They're just putting out these updates, which makes the game better, in theory. So, I don't know whether this is a funding issue because of that, or whether it's just greed, but for me, I think, like, maybe if they did like all 3 in like a pack for £10, it would be slightly less egregious, but like £5 each is a bit steep for something that just changes the look of your character, which you only really see when you're in a vehicle, or, you know, you can see it, but you know what I mean. And to me, that's half the fun anyway. It's like the changing appearance of your character as you get new gear. So having like you look one way for the whole game just makes me feel, ugh, I'm not really sure I'm down with that. I don't really like it when RPGs do it, when you get new armor and you put it on, you're like excited and nothing happens to the character model. I hate that. So I don't know. I mean, it's, as I say, there's no gameplay benefits from it, so you could argue, oh, it's just cosmetic, but I almost did until I worked out it was just like, what am I doing? Why am I buying this? I don't need to buy this, so I didn't buy it. But I know that's got a lot of people's backs up. I mean, I think the price point is a little steep. As long as they're clear, as long as it doesn't affect in-game, give people advantages for spending money, that sort of shit, which is what we don't want to see. You know, if you want to waste your money on it, you go right ahead. I've wasted my money on playing this shit before. I bought the fucking season pass for 2K25 WWE. Mainly because Stephanie Vicaire is in it, but whatever, we'll get past it. So if you want these skins, you go buy those skins, man. It's up to you, but I'm not buying them at that price. Like I said, if maybe they put them in a 3-pack for a tenner, then maybe. But £5 for each is a bit too steep for my taste. Even though I almost did it drunkenly. Because that's where most of my money goes on ill-advised drunken purchases. And now I'm trying to remember when I proposed. Completely unrelated, never mind. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week. Take care. And I'll catch you next time.